Good morning. How are you today? We are back on the Google search monopoly case, of course. There are two monopoly cases on Google at the moment. The first is one as it relates to the search marketing side. And so that relates to both organic search as well as the search advertising and the way that was utilized to uphold the monopoly. And so that was initially filed in 2020, and that is in Judge Mehta's court, Mehta, and that's what we'll be going over this live stream, what we've been going over as the main focus of the legal documentation coverage so far. And we've also covered already news coverage as it relates to both monopoly cases. And the other one is on Google's ad technology monopoly case against them. We're going to get into that legal documentation coverage after I feel like I've wrapped this up a bit more. And that other one, that was a initial complaint. I believe it was filed 2023 in Judge Brinkema's court, Brinkema. And so yeah, so we're on the search monopoly. We've already gone through 18 trial exhibits so far. And this is the sixth live stream that we've done on this. So yeah, we've been pushing, moving right along, getting through this bit. For me, like it's very it's interesting because I don't really know what I'm looking at until I look at it, and I don't know enough about the law or the technology to understand some of the things that are happening here. But a lot of the marketing side and the business side that is happening here, it's just like, wow. And for me, it's like this is like the most information I feel like we're going to be able to get public access to regarding how Google actually works. And so I think that's why I'm so kind of hyper focused on going through all of this documentation, because it's just like this is just like I never thought I would be able to get this much information before about Google. So yeah, it's just I haven't even fully processed that. But yeah, so we're just gonna keep doing our thing. I roll my intro, then we're gonna recap the last trial exhibits we did last time, and then we'll keep going. We'll just see how many we can do. I don't know if it'll be one, if it'll be three, who knows. Most of these live streams, it seems like I only got one or two done. There were a couple that I was able to get 5 or more done, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, thanks for joining me today. Hi, my name is Alexis, also known as Lexi or Deaf Child. I was born deaf, hard of hearing. I began doing business as Deaf Child 2013, marketing 2011, sales 2009. I've earned 50 plus certifications in marketing and sales. My Bachelor of Science from Loyola University, New Orleans, with a music industry studies major and a business administration minor. Deafness runs in my family genetically. Speech is not fully accessible to me. Anyway, I'm here to bitch about whatever the fuck is on my mind. So here we go. Visit my site at noladeafchild.com. So, basically, we're about to go into looking over the, doing a recap on what we did last time. So, last time we first went over this Professor Douglas Ord presentation, and in that presentation, in my opinion, basically, what I took away from it was Google was trying to argue that having scale wasn't why they were so great. It's because they were so efficient in terms of having the data to scale. But their own documentation has previously shown, that they do rely on data to scale. And so, yeah, this presentation, I kind of took away from that, where Google was just trying to act like they weren't a monopoly, because they were trying to say that if if Microsoft could only scale with a certain amount of resources that Microsoft had available to them, then that means that Google wasn't a monopoly or whatever. But my opinion is they're not taking into account the fact that Microsoft doesn't have the same resources as Google. So you're comparing apples to oranges there. Like, you can't compare Microsoft's ability to scale with Google's ability to scale. I mean, maybe you could if you're comparing the previous Microsoft case, monopoly case on Microsoft as it related to, I think it was like the browsers, like Internet Explorer back in the day in the 90s or some shit. I apologize if I got that wrong. I may have, but something like that. But then there's like the other side of the monopoly situation where when you relate it to Bing, if you're thinking of Microsoft's um, relationship with Bing and you're thinking of that, fucking on the Bing side as a search engine, that scalability does not compare uh, to Google's based on the amount of data. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, that presentation was just like, oh my god, are y'all fucking serious? To me, but yeah. And then the next one, the Professor Michael Winston presentation, that was kind of similar but different in a way. Like it was a similar argument because they were basically trying to say, well, because these other monopolies exist, we're not a monopoly. But it was with like a different information in terms of more of discussing, like previously we're more focused on scaling and data. Now they're more focused on the market power and market definition again, back with the second Professor Michael Winston presentation we went through. But in that presentation, it kind of showed how through contracts and the deals and the things that and the internal communications and the plans that Google had to potentially fix prices or control pricing, that they were able to have that market power to uphold monopoly and things like that. I can't speak. What the fuck did I just say? I don't know. But you know what I mean? So yeah, that's what we basically discussed last two times in those two presentations. So yeah, that concludes this little recap. And moving on, we're about to get into our next presentation here. Most of what we've been looking at has been coming from, I mean, there has been a good bit of Google's side in what we've been looking at throughout this monopoly coverage so far, but most of the monopoly coverage we've gotten through so far has been extremely focused on the government side, in my opinion, in terms of the presentation of everything. So this is labeled Google presentation, so I'm wondering if we're going to get more from Google's side here. I'm interested. So far, I've been kind of critical on what they have to say, and it's not that I want to be like, was going into this thinking, yeah, Google's a monopoly, fuck them. Because, you know, it's like, I didn't understand enough about, like, the ways in which they built their business to determine that until after I find out about these agreements and things like that that they were locking others into and stuff. And then I was like, oh shit, no, that's fucked up. You know what I mean? So there are like things that I didn't know about before, right? To like fully 100% say like, oh wow, like, you know, with certainty. But now I know. So yeah, so I do have that opinion, and from that, I have been pretty critical of some of the evidence that they've shown so far because, in my opinion, like they'll use arguments that they've literally already shown evidence from their own words where it's the opposite, such as with the data scaling example. And so, like, when it comes to shit like that, I'm just like having a hard time being like I'm like, y'all are a multi-billion-dollar company, and these are the best legal arguments you could do. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna try not to be too critical and try to just get through the presentation because time. But yeah, we'll see what comes out of me. I'm assuming this is from Google side, but who knows? Okay, let's actually do the thing now. My bad. So first up here we have exhibit number UPX0001, and this is labeled Google Presentation, Google Search Ads 101, April 17, 2020. This is posted September 27, 2023. Okay, let's see if we get a behind the scenes look on how Google search ads work. That's interesting. So, labeled Google Search Ads 101. So, addressing the concept of search. It says, remember 1998? I'm sure many of us remember 1998 as a very simple time. And it says Sally. I don't know who the fuck Sally is, but okay. And it says, Google search has 3 billion searches per day, and 20 billion sites are crawled every day. I don't know what the context was, you know, in these original presentations, you know, but whatever, fuck it. And then it says, okay, well, it says Sally at the bottom of each one, so I guess that's who they're crediting us to. I'm going to stop reading the name Sally, but that's also on this page. Okay, but it says, but now Google just celebrated its 20th birthday last month. Today, there are 30 plus billion searches per day. Search marketing has become increasingly complex over the years in the search engine's quest to deliver the most relevant yet comprehensive information a user is looking for. Our goal is to make sure that the improvements we make fit into the flow that you're looking for, that you almost don't notice that it happened. It should seem obvious, and like it should have always been that way. Google Instant allows Google to load your query and results before you're even done typing. Last year, the number of search quality improvements made by Google was 540, which averages out to about 1.5 each day. And then it shows a search engine result page example. Oh, now it's got a different name here named Victoria, so I wonder if that's who's speaking on these slides or whatever. Who knows? It shows the search engine result page example, but now it's labeled. And so it shows where the organic search is, SEO. It shows where paid search is, search engine marketing. It shows the search keyword, as well as a knowledge graph. And there's a note, and it says generally 2 to 3 ads above the fold. Shopping ads can also appear above text ads. And it says, when we refer to impacting paid search results, you may hear the phrase SEM or search engine marketing, and that always refers to paid. And then it says, and in the case of organic SEO or search engine optimization, and that almost always refers to free. And then it says, while paid ads can appear on multiple pages of search results, the typical goal is to be in the top 3 slots on the first page above organic results. And I said almost because sometimes if you're getting like really into a conversation, you can get into how organic SEO and paid SEM work together to perpetuate each other. So in those conversations, then we can kind of get confused as to talking about paid ways to do SEO, if that makes sense, or free ways to do SEM, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of the communication and the collaboration of those two efforts. But overall, if you see SEM, search engine marketing, think paid. And if you see SEO, search engine optimization, think free. Okay, moving on. It says a mobile search results page. And it shows a few different page examples. One was with a text ad, shows the others with organic maps listings, and then another with just organic text results. And it says these results do look a bit differently on the mobile side, and depending on the keyword can also include organic maps listings. And then it shows the anatomy of an ad, and it says ad content. It shows text with 3 parameters here: headline, URL within the marketplace, and 1 to 2 description lines. And then it shows ad extensions with 2 items for this, one being structured snippet and the other being site links. And then it says other extensions include app, call, call out, location, message, price, promotion. And basically, this is just the general anatomy of how, like, you know, your standard text ad shows up, and then you can get these add-ons, such as, for example, people can click a button and it automatically starts calling you, for example. And that was the general ad, but now it's showing anatomy of a mobile ad. And it's showing our ad content, text, 1 to 3 headlines, our display URL, and 1 to 2 description lines, as well as ad extensions for site links, call, and location. And it says other extensions include app, call out, message, price, promotion, structured snippet. So yeah, well, I think like the difference here, for example, like where I was saying that example, like the automatic call button only works on the phone, for example, right? Yeah. things like that. And then it says, on the mobile side, the same principles hold true with three key features: headlines, display URL, and description lines. On mobile, especially the addition of a location and call extension can be very relevant for users on the move or those hoping to place a quick call. And then it says, what terms should I be familiar with? Here are a few to start off with. Some of the terms you may already be familiar with, and some may be less obvious. So here are a few to start. Impressions. An impression is counted each time your ad is shown. One of the most basic terms is an impression. Impressions in paid search are free. That's because paid search is typically a cost per click pricing method. And then it says click. When someone clicks your ad, like on the blue headline of a text ad, it says it's worth noting that in search, you only get charged when someone actually clicks on your ad, not when an impression is shown. And then it says click-through rate. Clicks, impressions, or clicks divided by impressions, my bad. Click-through rate can be used to gauge how well your keywords and ads are performing. So it's clicks divided by impressions. For instance, if your click-through rate is low, you may want to adjust your ad copy or messaging, or you may want to refine your targeting. Then it says brand keyword. Keywords that contain your brand name or branded product terms, such as Xfinity Internet, X1 bundle deals, Comcast Business, as an example. And then it says non-brand, generic, or category keyword. Keywords in your category that do not contain your brand or branded product names, such as internet service providers, cable internet bundles, VoIP. And here it says, how do I pay? Pay-per-click model. Only pay when someone clicks on your ad. Cost per click is used to describe how you're being charged. These terms are often used interchangeably. How do I get my ad to the top of the page? We use an auction. While what you're willing to pay is one key element, you can't just pay to win top spot, as we consider other factors too. This is interesting here because in last live stream we covered how in their internal messaging they were talking about how right now people were being charged 20% less than what they're willing to pay, and they wanted them to pay 1 penny less than what they're willing to pay. And so that's where they were able to, the wording that they were using on how to do that was part of what the government was then able to argue to say, hey, Google's fixing prices, monopoly, ding, 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 red alert. You know what I'm saying? That's like a very bad summary in a nutshell, but what I took away from it, if I'm making sense. Okie dokie. And then moving on, it says, it shows ad rank equals your max bid times your quality score. So ad rank is a value that's used to determine your ad position where ads are shown on a page and whether your ads will show at all. Your max bid is the maximum you are willing to pay for a click on your ad, and your quality score is the relevant score that Google attributes your ad to the query. So the value that's used to determine your ad position, where the ads are shown on a page, and whether your ads will show at all, is determined by the maximum you're willing to pay for a click on your ad times what Google finds relevant. And it says, one thing to note is that your actual cost per click will often be lower than your max bid, especially if your quality score is high. Google will often reward your relevancy by charging less per click than if your ad wasn't very relevant to the user. You can also think of it as an eBay auction. You only pay what's required to win the auction against the next competitor, and not necessarily the maximum amount. And then right here, the slide says 101. Oh, I'm out of it. It says 101 Google AdWords. Um, and it shows like a mind map of ideas, but it just says click, ad auction, quality score, paid search results, bid, campaign, organic search results, ad group, keywords, budget, search term, conversion, and impression. So I'm assuming that they're going over these concepts potentially in their presentation here, but I don't know. And then it says the search network, ad distribution. Google Ads also appear on searches done on hundreds of partner sites, referred to as search syndicates. And so yeah, and so it shows AOL, Netscape, NetCenter, Cascos, is that how the fuck you say that? And Ask.com logos on here. And then it shows an Ask.com search engine result page, and it says the search query is car insurance, and that 5 AdWords ads are under the sponsored links via Google. Okay. And then it shows a results example within the AdWords accounts, and it says you can start seeing results within hours. Yeah, with a high enough budget, you can. Okie dokie. So, in this trial exhibit, they were just explaining the concept of how Google Search Ads works for advertisers. And that's, just relevant for people understanding because one of the main principles that the government was arguing regarding how Google monopolizes is based on search ad revenue and things like that, and price fixing, etc. So the more people understand about how it operates, the better they're able to make their own decisions about what Google, how Google is using their power in that way. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Next up, we're going to look at Google presentation, life of a click, user interaction from May 15th, 2017. Oh, you know what? I forgot to read the exhibit number. Exhibit number UPX0004. And this was uploaded November 1st, 2023. Okay. So, yeah. So this is a redacted presentation, of course, and it's about life of a click regarding user interaction. It has a Google logo on it, so I'm assuming that, and at the bottom right here it says Google confidential and proprietary. So I'm assuming that these Google presentations are from Google itself. Okay. So here it shows from Google the 3 pillars of ranking. So it says body, what the document says about itself, anchors, what the web says about the document, user interactions, what users say about the document. And it also says here, we may use clicks as a stand-in for user interactions in some places. User interactions include clicks, attention on a result, swipes on carousels, and entering a new query. Okay. Next up, they show their metrics for web ranking components. However, this is redacted. And then it shows us user interaction signals. And it starts off with like a person here. And it shows queries into search with results. And then you get results, and then interactions come back to that. And so interactions include read, clicks, scrolls, and mouse hovers. This next slide here is entirely redacted, so who knows? Same with the next one. And the next one. Guess what? It's redacted. And redacted. Redacted. Also redacted. So that's all we get from this. Well, that took forever. Okie dokie. So that one, the life of a click, I think they're just, the whole purpose of that document was just to explain how clicks are used to measure, partly to measure user interaction, among other factors. Okie dokie. Next up, our next Google presentation here, exhibit number UPX0006, Google presentation, Search State of the Union, for America's Search, SOTU, whatever the fuck that means, January 2019, uploaded November 4th, 2023. And here it's showing us our Search State of the Union. Oh, is that what the SOTU? There we go. That makes sense. State of the. Okay, oops. Now I get it. America search. Oh, now I get it. Okay, my bad. Fucking, and then it says Search State of the Union Executive Summary. Overview. Search share at percentage of total digital ad spend is expected to decrease over the next 5 years, about 4 points, but will still represent the largest share, 45%. Google search is expected to increase market share to about 80%. And again, I think this document is from 2019 if I'm not mistaken. And it says Amer LCS. Don't know what the fuck that means. Oh, America. Okay, there it is. American, I guess, American LCS. I gotta figure out what the fuck LCS means. Search growth is expected to slow to 10% year over year in 2020. Or something like that. Am I right? I don't know. Who knows? About 5 points. And then it says opportunities. Mobiles. Mobile is expected to represent about 80% of queries and about 70% of revenue by 2023. Improving mobile revenue per 1,000 impressions will be key to sustaining growth in search. This represents about $2 billion in incremental revenue opportunity. Other search opportunities. We have identified opportunities around user penetration divided by engagement, query growth, and auction metrics, including coverage, click-through rate, and depth, totaling about $3 billion to help accelerate search growth for the following years. Proposed next steps. Formal involvement of ads finance and existing work streams on coverage and mobile, in partnership with Google Tag Manager. Socialize findings to assess if a formal work group can or should be formed around query growth and user penetration or engagement with the marketing team, and page click-through rate headroom in mature countries with Google Tag Manager and Google Product Listing. And then it shows 3 items under here for bridge metrics, coverage BFM, and mobile alignment. BFM, I just think Black Friday, Cyber Monday. But what the fuck does BFM mean here? I don't know. You know what? Let's Google. The fuck LCS. Okay, large customer sales. LCS is large customer sales. There we go. The fuck does BFM mean? Oh shit. The fuck? I don't know what the fuck I just typed. My bad. Oh, wait. There's an F. Oh, oh no, BMM is broad match modifier. Right here they say BFM, BlackRock Fund Managers, is what Law Insiders attributes. The BlackRock-Google relationship dates back to 2016 when Google agreed to buy power from the BlackRock Finance. So yeah. Huh. I don't know the context of this presentation, but you know, if it's involving stakeholders and something they'd have to present to people that aren't involved with their internal team or board of directors or stakeholder type And if this is involved with getting funding or something for projects, then it could make sense that this BFM here is for BlackRock fund management. But um, I don't know for sure. I don't know what the fuck BFM stands for, and I got so distracted by that, but I already forgot what LCS stands for. I forgot the L is. The CS is customer sales. I think it's largest customer sales. Is that right? Large customer sales? I think that is. I don't know if BFM does stand for BlackRock Fund Management here or not, but it wouldn't surprise me if it does. Wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't. Okie dokie. And then next up, it shows a couple graphs here for industry search growth. Search will continue to lead the digital ad spend, about 45% of market share. Google search will be about 80% of search market. And then it shows America's digital ad spend in the billions. And for God damn, I can't read the numbers on this because it's so fucking blurry. But it shows some bars for search, video, and display. Search is way higher. In 2013, video is pretty small, and display is about a quarter of it. Um, and basically, what happened between 2013 and 2023 here is display and search reduce a little bit both, and video gets bigger in terms of digital ad spend here. And then it shows Google search market share comparing Google search to the rest of the industry. And it looks like towards 2017, I think that says, Google has closer to 70% market share. And then by 2023, it's increased about 10%. And so, yeah, that's this document. It just seems to be showing that Google search is increased, that certain parts of Google search market, in terms of the digital ad spend people are putting into the market, certain parts of the ad spend have decreased in terms of what people are spending. And overall, though, Google is still increasing the search revenue market in terms of their market share in it. Am I making sense? I don't think I read that right. You know what the fuck I meant. Moving on. And we're going to look at, oh, you know what? We're actually getting through a few of these today. That's nice. Exhibit number UPX0008. This is Google presentation, Introduction to the Search Ads Auction, June 7, 2019, from November 1st, 2023. You know what? That makes sense, though, because the government's going to want to get as much as they can on these bitches to prove their fucking shit. But Google is not going to want to give you as little as possible. So actually, it kind of does make sense to me in my head that, like, there would be so much more to cover from the government than what Google is giving us. Maybe I'm wrong for thinking that. But here it shows us Introduction to the Search Ads Auction. It's a presentation to the search team. It's redacted. It's from June 2019. This is a Google presentation, internal Google documentation here. And we have an overview. It says Introduction to the Long-Term Value Function. Introduction to blindness and its applications. How we set blindness-aware reserves. Case study, melting pot. You know, I'll have to go into a whole different concept on ableism here, but I feel like I'm just going to go ahead and link the crash course on ableist language in the description of this video. And I understand to a certain point it's just the way terms are used in the industry, but can we just admit that's problematic? Okay. And yeah. So then it says Introduction to Long-Term Value Function. Long-term value equals bid times predicted click-through rate minus whatever the fuck variable this is supposed to be. Yep. And it says expected cost per thousands minus cost per impression cost, which they're calling their blindness cost. I'm not going to even get into that logic. This next slide is confidential. So is the next slide. So is the next slide. Oh, hey, this one's only partly confidential. Okie dokie. It says, challenges of working in a reference space. Observational data, not representative of reference space. The vast majority of ads have at least one format, yet reference space is formatless. Some ads never get to show in the top position, yet we still need to know how they perform there. Solution: conduct carefully crafted ablation experiments to measure or learn lifts directly. And then it's partly redacted here, and then it says uses of this data. Measurement data. How well are we doing? Training data. Constrained optimization and loss function to kill format and position bias. Next slide's redacted. And then it says the dual mission of beta reserves. Beta reserves serve two indissociable purposes. I can't even fucking pronounce that damn word. I don't think I say it right. I'm pretty sure I say it differently every time. Whoops. Set cost reserves and thus act as a pricing mechanism. The higher the reserve, the higher the cost, but also the higher the chances the ad will show at a lower position or not show at all. Set blindness reserves and thus act as a quality protection for users. Higher reserves typically lead to users clicking more on ads, such as better quality and vice versa. In practice, we mostly rely on better reserves as blindness reserves. Pricing implications ensue. So, I don't even want to get into their logic on the naming of that and how that is ableism, you know what I'm saying, in my opinion. But, and the crash course on ableism video I'm going to link in the description of the video after this shit is focused on deaf issues, but fuck it. You can apply it to this shit. You know what the fuck I mean, bitches? Yeah, man. But anyway, what they're saying here is basically, I feel like they're basically saying, advertisers can often expect their ads to perform better than what they're actually going to perform. And so they reserve uh, they set cost reserves to then serve those ads um, to then up the price to get those ads shown. So that way those ads won't be shown unless there's no other higher quality ad to show before it, if that makes sense, kind of. Is what I think they're basically saying. Am I making sense? But yeah, okie dokie. And then it says, blindness in a nutshell. Here we go with the ableism. Certain auction treatments can induce users to click more sightedness or less blindness. This effect usually takes time to be observable, such as weeks. How can we reliably measure it? Then this is redacted. And then it says how to measure this change. More redaction. Next slide here is redacted. And then it says a framework for thinking about long-term revenue. User learning is a user-centric quality metric. Plausible that behavior changes reflects user experience. Directly from users, no proxies, duration, click counts, human evaluation. And then it's redacted and more redactions, also redacted. Oh, it just says, can we predict blindness outcomes? Under small variations of the short-term metrics, yes. And it's redacted again. And then it says, how do we set blindness-informed reserved costs? We set reserves to maximize long-term revenue. We run long-term blindness experiments and validate that long-term revenue per 1,000 impressions is positive, typically informed by manual tweaking of the terms in the linear functions. We actively search the space of possible auctions offline through simulation. And then it's redacted, and then it says, we test out specific insights directly. And then it's also redacted. And then it says, case study, melting pot. What is melting pot? A collection of quality-oriented changes to our auction. Dramatic reduction in our ad load through reserve increases. And it says large short-term revenue per 1,000 impression losses, revenue per 1,000 impression recovery after several weeks, revenue recovery after several months. Also, some query learning. Latest results indicate about 4%, oh, no, that's not 4%, about 0.4% additional query learning. So yeah, basically in a nutshell, get over the ableism there. I believe they're basically explaining the technicalities behind um, how they use pricing to also help with not showing an ad that they're going to perceive as less quality whenever there's a higher quality ad and uh, to show instead. I think that's basically what they're saying there from my understanding of it. But again, I don't know enough about the search. I don't know enough about it to fully say, but that's basically, yeah, what they're talking about in regards to how the auction works. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. And then next up, we've got exhibit number UPX0009, and this is Google presentation ads. I don't know what this PA stands for right here. Ads, PA, is this paid advertising? Is what I normally go, but ramifications of Incognito. And this is August 5th, 2019, and it seems to be uploaded November 1st, 2023. Let's see. Yeah, so PA, it says likely refers to paid search ads. So yeah, that's what I'm assuming they possibly mean. So yeah. So this is a Google document here. It says ads at PA ramifications of Incognito. I think they mean paid search ads. And it says Adam, drawer of short straw, Judah. Whatever that. I guess that's an internal thing. And then it says one side summary of what follows. If Incognito, and this is referring to, of course, Google Incognito browser, in which your history is not supposed to be saved and certain data is not supposed to be tracked. But it says, if Incognito actual adoption redacted, monetary impact is likely redacted per year, perhaps well less. Most models think they can survive without much degradation. Individual users' experiences would degrade. Certain ad functionality would no longer fire at all if Incognito adoptions become mainstream. Monetary impact could be redacted as a lower bound. Various models and ad features completely break, like custom intent targeting. Neither scenario may change fundamentally users' misconceptions. If a user already incorrectly believes that Google is selling their data, they would likely still see the same kinds of things which they are misinterpreting today, even while within Incognito. For example, Chrome loading 3P cookies when user on the search engine result page. Keywords being passed when the user clicks on ads. Remarketing, still doing things once a user visits search engine result page, correlated landing page, etc. And then it's redacted, but it's addressing the concept of what happens if we remove IP. And then it shows a snippet of what seems to be a spreadsheet here. And part of it says, our ability to predict click-through rate will be hobbled. So this could impact the heart of the ads engine. And the rest of it is redacted, but I'm wondering if that's in context of this conversation of what happens if we remove IP. But I don't know for sure because I didn't make this. And then it says 2 of 6. Removability to tie queries into sessions. And it says current query known, but no IP, and cookie ID equals 0 at all times, degrades. Then it's redacted. And then it says breaks, click duration, task-based ad experiences for that user, and then it's redacted. And this next part is also, of course, redacted, but there's a comment down here in a little spreadsheet, it looks like, and it says, for more comments on impact to shopping if we do not have session-based features. So they're saying there's going to be, there's addressing impact to shopping for not having session-based features here. Okie dokie. So they're worried about how when people browse in an incognito way, you know what I'm saying, that limits their ability to monetize, in my opinion, potentially is the point of this. And then it says 3 of 6. All P13N is off on Google search engine result page. And it says degrade. Maybe some P13N models, if lots of data coming from longer incognito sessions, obviously revenue per 1,000 impressions and user experience on incognito users, and then it says search, and then it's redacted revenue per 1,000 impression of redacted percentage, audience based, redacted percentage, search engine result page features, and then it addresses shopping, redacted percent, revenue per 1,000 impression, most of which suspected to be search engine result page features. And then I think this is addressing YouTube. It says YT. It says modest unconditional impact if incognito usage is light. Incognito users would no longer see ads on YouTube targeted to their search engine result page query history. And then it says display, not super concerned. Non-search engine result page activity and aggregate well correlated. And then it shows breaks. Certain ad formats may break if highly interactive. So yeah. So they're basically saying if people browse incognito, you're not able to provide as relevant of an ad to them based on their history, and they will lose money, in my opinion. And then it's showing from a spreadsheet here, a couple comments, and it says previous query within expanded match, session info within predicted conversion rate. I use search engine result page features as a label for all impressions, clicks, or queries that users perform on search engine results pages, as opposed to audience-based P13N, where the targeting is a function of what a user did off the search engine result page. And then it says, what is an example of search engine result page features here that create that impact? And then next up, 4 of 6, coarser grained, fine-grained geographicals is what, geography or geographical location targeting, whatever the fuck they mean here, is what's listed, but it's redacted. And then next it says 5 of 6, experiment ID constraints to prevent identification. Presumably more restrictions on experiment size or experiment code triggering, so they can't be used to uniquely identify users. And then it's redacted. So they're basically saying they can't track individuals. And then this next part's redacted. And then it says 6 of 6. Incognito mode doesn't log anything. And it's redacted. So yeah, they're basically saying they don't get as much data, and so they lose money with incognito mode. That's the whole point of this. Now, next up, I think we got time for some more. It says Google, I got the exhibit number again. Exhibit number UPX0010, Google regulatory filing, how search ads are ranked and priced on Google. A briefing paper presented to the Competition and Markets Authority, February 14th, 2020. It seems to have been uploaded October 4th, 2023. So, I love how it says, strictly confidential, contains business secrets, and I'm over here like, yay, let's put this on live stream. Shall we dig in? You know what I mean? Yeah, this is the kind of field day I'm having going through all this Google shit. But yeah. So here, it says how search ads are ranked and priced on Google. A briefing paper presented to the Competition and Markets Authority. So, before we get into this, I just want to remind you guys, if you're near Houston, Texas, near Pasadena, Texas, thinking about getting a tattoo, Check out Ink by Cast Tattoo at the V-Hole Studio. So, we are now looking at how search ads are ranked and priced on Google, a briefing paper presented to the Competition and Markets Authority. And so this is going to go into an overview here. I'm going to just read it. Introduction, the Google search results page, also known as SERP, but I like to read the acronyms because it just helps me stay clear on everything because there's so many if I can. And then it says computing lifetime value, an overview, bidding, manual versus automated, predicted click-through rate, PCTR, formats and extensions, predicted creative quality, predicted landing page experience, thresholds, and reserve prices, actual cost per click, where advertisers actually pay per click, randomized, general, second price auction, RGSP, significant changes to ad rank, past and future. Introduction. This briefing paper provides Google's response to questions 1 to 2 of the CMA's request for information dated 14 February 2020. It focuses on search advertising on Google through Google Ads. Display advertising is covered in a separate briefing paper. And so by CMA, I'm guessing they meant Competition and Markets Authority. It says, as part of its focus on search advertising on Google, this paper provides a deep dive into the components of ad rank, including the inputs, variables, and features of Google's algorithms, including how and why the ad rank algorithms were designed. In particular, this paper focuses on the bidding component of ad rank, both manual bidding and automated bidding strategies, as well as the thresholds and reserve pricing systems of our search ads auctions. A single paper cannot capture all the technical details of Google's complex software code or the nuances of any particular component or algorithm. However, this paper attempts to provide a conceptual, non-technical understanding of how ad rank works, with a greater level of detail than what is available in our Help Center or other published materials. Relevant technical documentation is listed at Annex 3. The Google search results page, and it puts the acronym here for search engine result page. And it says, assume a user visits Google on a mobile phone and enters a query for insurance. Before tapping or swiping, the user may see, and then it shows an example of a search engine result page here. And it says the user then begins scrolling down the search results page and sees, and it shows an ad as well as maps. And then it says, and when the user scrolls to the very bottom of the search engine results page, and then it shows organic listings as well as more ads and related searches at the bottom. And it says, in total, in addition to the maps, local listings, related searches, and other non-paid organic results, the users will have seen a total of 7 ads on the search engine result page in this particular example. 4 above the organic listings, known as the top slot, and 3 below the organic listings, known as the bottom slot. This is a highly unusual result. Very few queries on Google trigger this many ads, and the vast majority of queries don't show any ads at all. But for purposes of this paper, the insurance query is used to illustrate the concept of ad rank. And I'm not reading the footnotes on this documentation, but should I have been? Fuck it. Okay, I'm just going to keep going. I have not been reading the footnotes on this. It says, for simplicity, we'll refer to the ads in the top slot as top 1, top 2, top 3, and top 4, and we'll refer to the ads in the bottom slot as bottom 1, bottom 2, and bottom 3. Ad rank and overview. It is safe to assume that more than 7 advertisers worldwide would have liked their ads to have shown in response to the query of insurance. Of the 7 advertisers whose ads did show, it's also safe to assume that each of them would have liked to have appeared in the first position of the top slot. This paper will explain how Google selects and ranks the ads that appear on its search engine result page, a concept known as ad rank, which works as follows. At the time of the insurance query, Google identifies a few hundred ads in the Google Ads system that are likely to be highly relevant to the user. We weed out, for example, ads that are unrelated to insurance, as well as insurance-related ads that are ineligible to show. We then send these ads to a system known as the ad mixer to assign each of the ads a score, known internally as an ad score, or long-term value score. And so, yeah, you can see LTV referred to as lifetime value or long-term value. It's the same fucking thing. Ads with sufficiently high long-term value scores, for example, those that exceed our quality thresholds, are eligible to appear on the search engine result page. And assuming all other eligibility conditions are also met, they will be ranked in order of those scores, from highest to lowest. This process is commonly referred to as the ad auction, which derives from the role that advertiser bids play in the calculation of lifetime value scores. An advertiser's bid is also known as the maximum cost per click, or max CPC, which users represent the maximum amount the advertisers is willing to pay Google whenever a user clicks on its ad. In Google Ads, advertisers only pay for search ads when users actually click on them. At its most basic level, the lifetime value score of each ad is a function of the advertiser's bid, the quality of the ad itself, that is, the ad copy or ad creative, and the quality of the landing page, that is, the page on the advertiser's website where the user lands after clicking on the ad. The higher the combination of bid and quality, the higher the long-term value score, that is, the higher the ad rank. And then it addresses computing lifetime value and overview. Google's lifetime value algorithms seek to predict whether or not the benefits of showing a particular ad will exceed the costs. This next part here is redacted. And it says the expected revenue from showing a particular ad, known internally as the expected cost per 1,000 impressions, or ECPM of an ad impression, is a function of the advertiser's bid. That is, the most the advertiser is willing to pay Google per click, and the probability that the user will actually click on the ad. This probability is called the expected click-through rate, known internally as predicted click-through rate, or PCTR. This next part is redacted. And then it says, the predicted benefits to Google of an ad impression are then offset by the predicted cost to Google of showing the ad, which include an impression cost, the cost of showing a low-quality ad, that is, the probability that the text of the ad copy itself or ad creative is low quality, multiplied by a weight, and a click cost, the cost that the user will have a low quality experience on the advertiser's landing page after clicking on the ad, multiplied by a weight. Our prediction of the quality of the ad itself being good is known internally as predicted creative quality, or PCQ. And our prediction of the quality of the landing page experience being good is known internally as PLQ. And this next part here is redacted. And then it's redacted again. But then it says, the weights attached to the predicted creative quality and predicted landing page quality, whatever fuck, I think I said that wrong, landing page experience, whatever, functions are discussed next. A key element of the lifetime value algorithm is the inverse relationship between the advertiser's bid and the increased quality needed to yield a similar ranking if the bid were lowered. This inverse relationship has been central to AdRank since the early days of AdWords. Ads with low quality metrics, that is, low predicted click-through rate, predicted quality, content quality, and or predicted landing page experience would need higher bids to successfully compete against ads with higher quality metrics, and vice versa. High quality ads can have lower bids and still compete successfully in auctions. This inverse dynamic helps incentivize advertisers to improve the quality of their ads. And then it's redacted. And then it says only ads with a positive lifetime value, a lifetime value greater than 0, are eligible to show on search engine result pages. For example, if the advertiser's bid, also known as max cost per click, and then it's redacted here, then expected revenue, ECPM, will be positive, and therefore the ad will be eligible to show if the expected costs, redacted, are less than the expected cost per expected revenue. Conversely, if the advertiser's bid, then it's redacted, then lifetime value or long-term value will be negative because the expected revenue will be negative, and therefore the ad will have failed to clear its threshold. Lifetime value is greater than 0 and will be ineligible to show. Each of these variables, such as bid, predicted click-through rate, predicted content quality, and predicted landing page experience, and the constant values, A, minimum cost per click, B, C, D, and E, will be discussed in turn below. And then it discusses bidding, manual versus automated. The bid component of the lifetime value score is determined on each advertiser's decision to use either a manual or automated bidding strategy for a particular ad campaign. With manual cost per click bidding, advertisers can set max cost per click bids for each keyword. For example, a florist may wish to set higher max cost per click bids for roses related keywords than for lilies related keywords. With automated bidding, also known as smart bidding or auction time bidding, advertisers provide Google with a performance goal, such as maximize clicks, maximize conversions, and then allow Google's machine learning algorithms to dynamically set cost per click bids tailored to the specific context of each query and auction to meet the advertiser's stated performance goals. Google's machine learning algorithms set bids at query time before the auction is run. Once the bids have been set, the ads using automated bidding are treated like ads using manual bidding and enter the auction in the same way. The following are examples of Google's automated bidding tools. And it shows target cost per action, also known as target cost per acquisition or target CPA. The advertiser provides Google with a target cost per acquisition. For example, target an average cost of $1 for every user who signs up for our newsletter. And then Google automatically sets cost per click bids to help the advertiser obtain as many conversions as possible. For example, as many newsletter signups as possible at or close to the target cost per acquisition. Target return on ad spend or target ROAS. Google automatically sets bids to help the advertiser obtain as much conversion value as possible at or close to the target return on ad spend set by the advertiser. Maximize clicks. Google automatically sets bids to help the advertiser obtain as many clicks as possible within the advertiser's set budget. Maximize conversions. Google automatically sets bids to help the advertiser obtain the most conversions as possible within the advertiser's set budget. Maximize conversion value. Google automatically sets bids to help the advertiser obtain the most conversion value within the advertiser's set budget. Enhanced cost per click or enhanced CPC. This is a blend of both manual and automated bidding strategies, allowing the system to dynamically adjust an advertiser's manual bids to increase their conversion volume while using the manual bids as guidance for the behavior desired by the advertiser. Target impression share. Google automatically sets bids to reach, at the lowest cost possible, the impression share specified by the advertiser. That is, the fraction of targeted queries by each keyword for which their ads could show. The advertiser can specify if the impression share they want is to be measured counting A, any impressions, B, only impressions in the top slot, or C, just top slot position impressions. And then it says, Google's automated bidding Google's automated bidding algorithms take into account a number of auction time signals to best meet the advertiser's stated goals in the context of a particular user query. These auction time signals include, for example, then it shows redacted, and then it says, many advertisers use a combination of manual and automated bidding strategies, leveraging the deep analysis provided by the Google Ads reporting tools to maximize performance and advertiser goals. Predicted click-through rate, PCTR. The most important quality metric within AdRank and a bedrock signal since the early days of AdWords is expected click-through rate, known internally as predicted click-through rate or PCTR. Users vote with their clicks, and the more users click on a particular ad in response to particular queries, the more we learn the high-quality nature of the ad. The models and math underlying our click predictions are complex, using a wide range of variables and machine learning systems, but at a high level, the objective is simple. Given a particular user's query and an advertiser's particular ad, what is the likelihood that the user will actually click on the ad if we show it, taking into account when, where, and how the user is searching on Google? The auction time inputs our predicted click-through rate regression models include, for example, and then it's redacted, of course. And then it says, as discussed in more detail in the formats and extensions section immediately below, our predicted click-through rate systems also account for other factors that affect the likelihood that a user will click on a particular ad. For example, users are typically more likely to click on ads in a higher ad position than in a lower one. For example, top 1 versus bottom 3. Because these factors don't contribute to the underlying quality of a particular ad, our systems normalize the click-through metrics before being entered into our long-term value algorithms for eligibility determination. That is, redacted. That way, advertisers aren't unduly penalized or unduly credited with aspects of their historical click-through rate, click-through performance that are out of their control. And then it talks about formats and extensions. And it says since 2013, the expected impact from formats and extensions has been an important part of AdRank. Some samples of formats and extensions include call extensions, site links, and seller ratings. And it shows visual examples of call extensions, site links, and seller ratings here. And then it's redacted. And it says, here's an example from the progressive ad with a call extension and site links, which appeared in the first position of the top slot in our original sample query above. But guess what? That's also redacted. And then it shows predicted creative quality, but it's redacted. And then it shows predicted landing page experience. That's also redacted. And it shows thresholds and reserve prices. Guess what's redacted? And then it says returning to the life, I want to keep saying life, returning to the long-term value equation from above, then it's redacted. And then it says only ads with a positive long-term value, redacted, are eligible to show on the search engine result page. For example, if the advertiser's bid is redacted, then so right here it says expected cost per thousand impression. I don't know if they mean that, but then earlier they were saying revenue for this. So I don't know if they mean expected cost per thousand impression or revenue here. It says will be positive, and therefore the ad will be eligible to show redacted. Redacted. But if the bid redacted, then the ad will be ineligible to show because, okay, reading all of this redacted shit, you know what this reminds me of? Hold on, let me see if I can find this. Oh, I found it. Hold on. Okay. So I'm wondering the political correctness of this, but you know what? In terms of like the xenophobia, like, but in terms of like human rights issues, you know what I'm saying? But fucking reading this documentation where every 5 seconds I'm over here like being like redacted, redacted, redacted. You know what this is reminding me of is just a SpongeBob thing I'm about to show you. So yeah, hold on.
Oh, it's only you. Well, that solves my balloon problem, but I got a bigger problem. I'm kinda stuck here. I need to catch a bus to get home.
Oh shit, I just realized I didn't mute, so that probably echoed. That's unfortunate for me. My bad, guys. But I didn't even pull up at the right part apparently because where he just goes up and like when the guy's talking to him and he just blows a raspberry every time. That scene, I don't know. I'm not making sense. But like, so SpongeBob is trying to talk to that dude and he just keeps like blowing raspberries. And then he's just like, I can't fucking understand your accent. But that's how I felt. That's what like saying redacted every 5 seconds reminded me of. I don't know. But I didn't find the right scene or the right version of that. So my bad. Okay. But close enough. It was that character doing that thing, but I didn't find the right scene of what I was trying to refer to. And I forgot to unmute, so my bad. Okay, fuck it. But we're just gonna pick it up from this paragraph right here. So we're reading some redacted shit, but it says redacted. But if the bid redacted, then the ad will be ineligible to show because, and then it says expected cost per thousand impressions will be negative, and therefore, and I guess that, or are they talking about because do they mean expected revenue per thousand impressions? Because then that would be revenue, right? But expected cost per thousand impression is your expenses. So where they put that in this documentation confuses me, but whatever. Maybe I just don't understand enough about their thought process to know what they meant, or maybe that was a mistake on their part. And then it says will be negative, and therefore long-term value will be negative. In this way, the threshold, redacted, establishes a reserve price for an ad. If an advertiser's bid is too low to ensure a positive long-term value score, the ad won't show. And if the advertiser is the only advertiser eligible to show because none of its competitors bid high enough to achieve positive long-term value scores, then the smallest bid possible that would still result in a positive long-term value score is the reserve price the advertiser will pay for the click. And then it's redacted, and then it's redacted. And then it says actual cost per click. What advertisers actually pay for click. Advertisers only pay Google for search ads when users actually click on them, a concept known as cost per click. The amount that an advertiser pays when receiving a click, or actual cost per click. It's often less than the advertiser's bid. Maximum cost per click. Because with the Google Ads auction, each advertiser only pays what's minimally required to clear the ad rank threshold and beat the long-term value score of the next best competing advertiser in the auction. And if there are no next best competitors in the auction, for example, if no competitors have cleared their ad rank thresholds, then the actual cost per click is the reserve price. Then it says, returning to the original insurance query from above, we now look at a hypothetical list of the top 10 advertisers competing for the query. And we start with the auction for the first position of the top slot. And it says auction number 1, top slot, first position, top 1. And it shows advertisers from A through H, and it shows a bid from high through medium. And it shows quality, and it ranges from high to medium to low, and format, too high, too medium, the rest low. And then it gives you base long-term value score. And so we start off higher to lower, from 42 to negative 40 here. Oh, my bad, there's a couple of other advertisers, I and J, on the next page, whatever, but they still go from medium to low, whatever. Fuck it. And it says, in this hypothetical first position auction, 4 advertisers, advertisers A, B, C, and D, have cleared the top slot threshold. Advertiser A is second priced against advertiser B, which means advertiser A will pay just enough, that is, rounded up to the nearest billable unit, which in the United States is a penny, to beat advertiser B's long-term value score. For example, suppose advertiser A submitted a bid of $1, which yielded a long-term value score of 42. To beat advertiser B's long-term value score of 28, advertiser A could have bid as low as, say, 84 cents and still have beaten advertiser B. So that's what the advertiser A will pay per click, 84 cents. The same basic approach is taken for each position down the page. Take, for example, the auction for the 4th position in the top slot, which excludes advertisers A, B, and C, who won the auctions for the higher 3 positions. And now it's showing auction number 4, top slot, 4th position, top 4. It's the same thing, minus the top 3. And it says, in this auction, advertiser D is the only advertiser to have cleared the top slot threshold. As a result, advertiser D would pay the reserve price for clicks in the 4th position. Specifically, even though advertiser E may appear in the bottom slot on the same search results page, advertiser D is reserve priced, not second priced, by advertiser E. For example, suppose advertiser D submitted submitted a bid of 60 cents, which yielded a long-term value score of 4. To beat the reserve, that is, to exceed the base long-term value of 0, advertiser D could have bid as low as, say, 52 cents and still have cleared the threshold. So that's what advertiser D would pay per click, 52 cents. And then it shows, next we look at the 7th auction on the page, and it shows auction number 7, bottom slot, 3rd position, bottom 3. And it's the same, but the top 6 are gone. And it says, because thresholds vary by slot, the base LTV scores for the bottom slot auctions will be different than the long-term value scores for the top slot auction. For example, advertiser G's base long-term value scores in the top slot auctions were minus 30, but its base long-term value scores in the bottom slot auctions are 17. And because advertiser G, and that's because they're not taking into account, it's in relation to how other people are bidding. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't have to compete with those other people that are better than you, then your score will be higher. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and then it says, and because Advertiser G is the only remaining advertiser in this example who cleared the bottom slot threshold. Advertiser G will be reserve priced, not second priced, for advertiser H, and no ads will show in the eighth and final ad position, or bottom four, because I didn't get enough quality score to. And then it says randomized general second price auction. Since the early day of AdWords, the actual price advertisers pay per click, actual cost per click, has been determined by a customized version of a second price auction, also known as a Vickrey auction. In common parlance, winners of a Vickrey auction don't pay what they bid, as they would in a first price auction, but instead pay the bid of the next highest competitor, as described in the actual cost per click section immediately above. We described our version of the second priced auction as requiring advertisers to pay only what's minimally required to clear the ad rank thresholds and beat the ad rank of their next best competitor. Using the simplified example above, we illustrated how the top one advertiser, advertiser A, paid 84 cents in comparison to its $1 bid, because that's the amount that was minimally necessary to clear the thresholds and beat its nearest competitor. And then it's redacted here. And then next page is redacted again. And it says, or partly, and then it says significant changes to ad rank, has, and feature. Since January 2019, one significant improvement to ad rank has been to allow thresholds to be dynamically set for each auction based on the thresholds of closely related auctions. This allows our systems to optimize an advertiser's ability to show its ads in related auctions for similar queries. For example, our systems might dynamically lower thresholds in an auction for online insurance to allow an advertiser to compete in that auction because, for example, its LTV might not otherwise have been high enough in terms of their long-term value. But only if we're able to dynamically increase the thresholds in a related auction for insurance in which the advertiser can still afford to participate even at the higher thresholds. Another significant change to ad rank since January 2019 has been the global launch of the Randomized General Second Price Auction, RGSP, described above. In the next few years, we anticipate applying the latest machine learning techniques to better inform auction costs, implement more fine-grained optimizations for innovations like randomized general second price auction, improve our understanding of user impact, for example, with respect to ads blindness, and learn how those insights could better inform auction dynamics and improve ads allocation decisions to better account for the advertiser value, that is, conversions they can provide. So yeah, and that concludes our reading of Google's document there on how search ads are ranked and priced on Google. It's a briefing paper presented to the Competition and Markets Authority, and that really went it didn't go into the full technicalities, but it did go pretty in detail into the theories and principles in which their technicalities are based for ranking ads. You know what I'm saying? And so basically what it discusses is ads are ranked based on the bid that you place, as well as the quality of the ad and what Google perceives it's going to be relevant to the user. And on top of that, it's also in relation to what your competitors are bidding and how they're performing. And so you're not only going to be paying based on being placed based on how much you pay and how good of an ad you have. It's also going to be based on did you pay more or less, pay more or less than others, but you only have to pay just enough to outmatch your next competitor's bid. You know what I'm saying? And that's how much they'll charge you. And then it's also related to which placement, because once a placement is secured for a position, then you're competing for that next slot. You know what I'm saying? So all of those factors come into play to determine how you rank. So yeah. And so now I'm just gonna kind of marinate and sum up the entire everything that we've been discussing today. So we got through. It looks like we got through 6 documents. Oh shit! It's more than I thought we were gonna do. That's awesome. Okay. So we had previously we were at 18. Now I think we've done 24 documents. So today, first of all, we went over a Google presentation on Google Search Ads 101, and that was just roughly explaining how to search ads work in a nutshell. And in that presentation, it was basically the main key takeaways there. We're discussing how the complexities have changed regarding the search engine result page in terms of the different algorithms that have come about. But basically, it was explaining the difference between organic SEO, free ranking, and paid ranking, or search engine marketing SEM. It explained that. And then it showed the differences in the anatomy of an ad, and it went into basically explaining, like, what are the definitions of like impressions and clicks and all of that. And so it's just kind of introducing you to some of the terminologies you need to understand Google search ads in general and how they function and how they work, some of the rough information there. And then after that, we went into a Google presentation on the life of a click regarding user interaction, and that is the main key takeaway from it. uh, Google ranks is highly influenced by user interactions, and clicks is one of those key metrics that are used for helping determine rankings. And then after that, we looked at a Google presentation regarding the search state of the union in America, America search state of the union. And that was really about Google market share and industry growth. And it was super quick, and it just kind of gave an overview about how they are increasing in market share and how video ads are now growing. And so, yeah. And then after that, we looked at a Google presentation on introduction to the search ads auction. And that just roughly explained in a nutshell that your bidding basically on your lifetime value is going to equal your long-term value is going to equal your bid times your predicted click-through rate, which they then uh, interpret as your expected cost per 1,000 impressions. And they subtract that from what your actual cost is, your actual cost per 1,000 impressions. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Um, so it's just basically looking at the difference between how you think you're gonna perform versus what the reality is. And yeah, then fucking, and that's kind of in a nutshell, helping you understand the way it works in the auction when you're bidding. And then they talked about another Google presentation is what we looked at next on the ads, paid search ads ramifications of incognito browsing. You know what I'm saying? When they're not able to track as much data, basically they're going to make less money is the key takeaway of that. And then last but not least, we looked at a Google regulatory filing, how search ads are ranked and priced on Google. It was a briefing paper presented to the Competition and Markets Authority, and that's the last thing we just dived into there. And that went pretty far in detail. It didn't explain necessarily the technology and the algorithms, but it explained the theories behind how the technology and the algorithms work in order to rank ads for paid search. And it was basically explaining it's a secondary priced randomized auction. So you're going to be paying based on what your competitors are paying. You just have to pay, like, when to outperform them, you have to have a better quality score. And then they're going to charge you, if you have a better quality score, what would be the next person they would have put up, what would they have paid? That's what you'll pay, basically, pretty much, in order to outperform. that's how it's been kind of working. In a nutshell, that's a really terrible, rough summary um, of how it's been working so far. So today we got through 6 documentations here, I think. Am I counting right? Yeah, no, I think that's 6. And so we've gone through, I think, 24 total now. And yeah, we'll just be moving right along, continuing, keeping going. I'm gonna wrap this bitch up because I need to go get some shit done. If I can go live later, maybe I will. Probably will be live tomorrow. Let's be real. But yeah, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you. Looking forward to continuing going through these exhibits. After I feel like I've wrapped up this little bow neatly, then I will touch on the remedies. If there's an update on that yet, we'll get to that. If there's not, we'll go ahead and move into the next Monopoly case and cover that when it comes out. But yeah, so again, this is all have been focused on this search Monopoly case in Judge Mehta's court, MEHTA. There is a different Monopoly case on Google regarding ad technology in Judge Brinkema's court, Brinkema, which we'll get to later. So yeah, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great day. And yeah, bye. Thanks for watching. Join the loyalty program at noladeafchild.com/loyalty and check in during live streams to get points for rewards.